Now playing.
Spoiler alert.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Spoiler Alerts. This is Kelsey. I know it's been a long time since we've talked to you guys, and some things have definitely changed. Probably the biggest change is that Naomi will no longer be hosting with me. It's going to be a one-woman show from now on. So yay for you guys, I guess. But I'll still be rating movies based on the 4 C's that Naomi and I came up with. So that is creativity, character, chain events, and cinematography. So let's get started. First, I kind of want to kick it off and kind of tell y'all what I've been watching this week. So I have been watching Abbott Elementary Season 2. Amazing. I'm gonna need Janine and Gregory to get together because they're the cutest thing ever. And also like another like heartfelt thing, like a light thing that I've been watching is Reboot, which is on Hulu, just because it's fun and something to have on and it's not super deep. I've really tried to get into The Sandman on Netflix.
Boring.
Sadly, it puts me to sleep, which I feel like is ironic because The Sandman is known for putting people to sleep, but I just couldn't get into it, so it's a wrap for me. But that's kind of what I've been watching this week. What have you guys been watching? Like, give me recommendations so I can be hip, because I feel like
You girls keep me young. Oh, I love you so much.
and that way I'll know what the cool kids are watching these days.
Okay, moving on.
But let me tell you guys what we're going to be reviewing this week. Drum roll, please. Entergalactic on Netflix. I love it. I'm obsessed. It's my new favorite thing. It is my absolute comfort movie. So get ready to hear all of the wonderful things about this movie.
Let's go.
Okay, so first let me just start off and say that Entergalactic is on Netflix. It came out about a month ago at the end of September, and it's written by Kid Cudi and Kenya Barris of Grownish and Blackish fame. And I just think it's a really great movie because I love seeing black love on screen, and the animation is absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. So I'm just gonna kind of jump right in and tell you all the fun things that I learned and studied while rewatching this movie for like the 5th or 6th time, because like I said, like it's such a comfort movie for me because it's just so happy and I love it. It just makes me really, really happy. So I'm hoping I can share that love with you guys.
All right. Let's get started.
Okay, so first we're going to start off with the characters, because how can I talk about the movie if you don't know who I'm talking about? And let me just say that this movie has stars all up in it. Like it has Kid Cudi, I'm saying all these names wrong by the way, Laura Harrier, Jessica Williams, Ty Dolla $ign, Timothy Chalamet, Vanessa Hudgens, Jaden Smith, Keith David, and Macaulay Culkin. Like there's so many people and you don't even realize it's their voices until like you look it up later. You're like, oh, that was Woody Woo. Like that's wild. Like that's crazy. And I think that just really goes to show you what the project was, because sometimes when you're watching animation or a cartoon or something like that, like you see it and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so's voice, like you just know it. Whereas with this one, I really just feel like I was watching characters and people, not the real voices, and I like that they could kind of separate themselves from that, because when I went to look it up and I saw that Keith David was in it, and
How y'all doing?
where do I know this voice from? I was like, oh, that was Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog, and it didn't even dawn on me that he was this guy until later, and I think that's really cool and just goes to show you the talent that is voice acting. So shout out to all them. But I can just tell you the main characters really quick. So Kid Cudi is the main character. His name was Jabari. His ex was Laura. I know I'm saying her last name wrong. Laura. But she went by Carmen in the movie. Kid Cudi's new love interest is Jessica Williams, aka Meadow, and then his 2 besties are Ty Dolla $ign, Timothy Chalamet as Kai and Jimmy.
Wait.
Let me not get ahead of myself. I just realized that I can't go into details about the characters with you guys if y'all have no idea what the story is about. So I'm actually going to switch gears really quick and tell you about the chain of events. So Intergalactic is split up into 6 chapters, kind of. And originally, I was reading that it was supposed to be more like a series instead of a movie. That's why it has chapters. But it just fits so much better as a movie, so I'm really glad they kept it in that format. It starts off with Kid Cudi's character, Jabari, moving into this new apartment in Manhattan. And he goes to get some food for his friends that are going to come over later, and he runs into his ex, and she low-key kind of shits on him a little bit and is like, oh, you're over in Manhattan now, like, are you selling enough shoes for that? And I'm just like, sis, why can't you just be happy for him having a new place? So I was already not a fan from her from jump. So they run into each other, and she's just like, hey, we should get drinks sometime, because you know that's just what happens when you run into an ex. They're always like, hey, we should hang out, and you're like,
don't do it.
Like, I don't know if this is a good idea. But he ends up doing it anyway, and they end up having sex. Surprise, surprise. After drinks, those things usually happen. And then the next morning, sis just like thinks they back together, and he's like, no man, that's not what we're doing here. So anyways, he goes back to his apartment. He's living his life, and because the big thing that the reason why he's in Manhattan in the first place is because he does these street art, like graffiti, and his graffiti art is called Mr. Rager, and it got kind of bought by a comic, and so now they want to make comic books out of it, so that's why he's able to afford this really nice apartment. But anyways, so he's at work, and his new co-worker kind of, he don't like shit on him, but he definitely like lets it known that, hey, you know, when you're here, you got to make your stuff like bright and white. So he's already kind of feeling down on himself and kind of like in his head about his own comic, and then he's just going through all these thoughts, and he's laying down in his bed, and he hears this loud music from a party next door, and it's his neighbor. And guess who his neighbor is? The beautiful Jessica Williams, aka Meadow. And he just thinks she's so gorgeous upon first look. Also, can we just do a side note? There was a little brief scene where the white guy tried to, like, you know, show his strength on Kid Cudi.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
And everyone's like, that scene was low-key unnecessary, but it's also, that scene could have really escalated, but Meadow kind of like killed it, because she was like, y'all, what y'all doing? So I just thought that was weird, but I guess needed. But anyway, so there's mutual attraction there, and so then the next morning she decides to take him out to apologize for the loud noise. And when I tell you, they had the perfect day together. So she took him to her favorite food spot. They walked all around New York, and just the rain. Then he showed her like his first ever graffiti art that he did, and it was just a really cute moment. And I don't know about y'all, but have y'all ever had like the best first date where you're like, I love this man, I love him, this is my husband? Because I know I've done that, because I'm a crazy person, but whatever, that was the vibes. She felt it, he felt it. And then after that, they were both just like, but we not finna like sleep with our neighbor. Like, that was like a big thing for them. Even though they both wanted it, they just like weren't going to do it. Then it happened.
What an unexpected surprise.
And it was great, and they fell in love, and it was wonderful. But when you're watching it, you realize they really were only in a relationship for a month, but still just their energy and everything was perfect. And then they're laying up in bed together, and they're going to sleep, and then she heard the phone go off, and he's like dead asleep. So she heard the phone go off. She like rummaging through, like, what is that? She checks the phone, and it is his ex, y'all. Bruh. His ex done texted him like a sexy picture and a little comment. And so now she upset, because she's like, this man I thought was like gonna be my husband, like now he over here like just doing some shady stuff, because you know how men are. Try. And so then the next morning she get up, leave, he wake up, she not there. So now this is the part that made me mad. And sometimes when I watch this movie again, like I kind of stop it like when they're in love, because I don't even like that they went through this foolishness. But after all this happens, he like runs to his friends, and he's like, yo, like what should I do? Like this looks bad. And they tell him basically that he needs to block his ex, which he should have done a while ago, but whatever. And then he texts her. Now, ladies, if something kind of shady like this happened and a man texts you, we good?
What the fuck that even mean, man?
First of all, you blocked, because why would you say that? Also, bro, you are my neighbor. Why are you texting me when you could be knocking on my door? Like, he did everything wrong in this scenario. So then he goes back to his ex's apartment to get, because he left his sweatshirt at her house, and so he goes to get the sweatshirt and he's talking to her and he's like, you know what, this little friendship thing ain't really working out because you sending pictures you're not supposed to be sending. And then she gets upset because she was really not in the right this entire movie, because why would you send that?
He doesn't like you.
Anyway, so she's feeling some type of way, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, like, I was with somebody when you sent that. And she was like, wait, were you with somebody or were you with somebody? And he's like, girl, what are you talking about?
I don't like you.
We are not together. I don't have to answer that. And so then she gets mad at him, gives him the sweatshirt back, whatever, problem is quote unquote solved. And then he goes to talk to Meadow, and then Meadow is obviously hurt, because I would be too, because this man didn't give me no clarity. And he's like, I know it looks bad, but I'm not that type of guy.
Yeah, whatever.
She was like, okay, so were you at her place? He was like, yeah, but, and in my head I'm like,
Really, nigga?
this all could have been solved if you told her, like, yes, I was over there because she called me because there was a rat in her apartment. Nothing happened. Like, he didn't explain no type of situation. He had really poor communication with her during this part. Like, anyways, after this happened, they kind of not broke up because they weren't technically together, but they kind of went their separate ways, and they were focusing on other things because she was an artist in her own right, and so she was getting her art put in a museum, and so she was focusing on that. And then he was trying to get Mr. Rager, like, into the comic books and kind of trying to find his voice there. So they're kind of focusing on themselves, thriving, doing what they can. And then when it comes time for the big moment at the end of the movie where she's presenting her art to the museum, she's looking for him because she wanted him to be there. And he shows up, then he leaves.
Where are you going?
And they end up at, like, the restaurant that she took him to, like, her favorite restaurant. And they slightly reconciled, and, you know, they kissed, made up, the movie ended, and it was great. But I still feel like there would have been a conversation, because I know me. And if you got a text from old girl and we booed up like the way they was booed up in that movie, we would have had a cute little convo. Because
I think the fuck not.
Sir, why have you not checked this already? Why does she feel so comfortable to do this? But anyways, that was the not so short story of the movie, The Chain of Events.
Okay, moving on.
I think the movie flowed really well. Like, there weren't any awkward pauses or anything that I felt was like a really unnecessary scene. Everything just seemed to fit, and I like that. It just, because it's about an hour and a half, like, it's not a long movie, and it doesn't feel like a long movie. Like, some movies you're watching, and even though it's an hour and a half, you're just like, bro, what is happening? Why have we not got to the climax of the movie yet? And this wasn't like that. So I'm definitely giving it 5 stars because it was great. It was easy, quick little watch. You can, like, have it on while you're washing dishes, but then you won't wash your dishes because you're going to be focused on the movie. So it was cute. I loved it. Okay, now let's go back to the characters and we can talk about them now. So I don't think I had a favorite character. Even though I love this movie, I just love it as a collective. I don't think, like, one particular character stood out over the other ones. I will say, though, that when his ex found out about his new job and all the art stuff, she was like, yeah, she kind of had some, like, comments I didn't really like, but it was fine. Now, when the new girl found out about the comic, because she was a fan of the art, and so when she found out it was going to be a comic book, she was like, and she instantly had attitude, and I was like, he was very supportive of you going to a museum. Why can't you return that support? So I didn't really like that. Like, yeah, she was, like, too cool for school, whatever, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. And then the best friends were really cute. Like, his best friends, Kai and Jimmy, they were supportive, they liked the girl. Like, it was just, they were really good energy. I love the way Ty Dolla $ign's voice sounds when he's talking and when he's singing. So he was telling, like, his little stories, and I was just like,
kind of low-key obsessed at this point.
I could listen to him tell stories all day. Like, it was great. And I had no idea that was Timothée Chalamet, like, as I was listening to him, but I liked him as a character. He was
a drug dealer.
Her best friend, Karina, which was Vanessa Hudgens, and she was cool. She was like the pregnant woman who kind of helped Meadow find her, I don't know, like her sexiness in her puna.
What the hell did you just say?
There was a lot going on with that, but yeah, like I liked it. I do feel like the two main characters, like I said earlier, could have had better communication, and if they had better communication, I think that would have been a better just character development for them, because even in the end when they get together and we're all happy and excited about it, like I said, I'm like, there has to have additional conversation. Like, they have to have more conversation, because nothing was solved. Like, you're probably still holding resentment for things. He probably thinks everything is perfectly, like, just hunky-dory fine. So I don't know, like that part kind of threw me. I did love all the voice actors. I loved watching them, but I think since there wasn't as much character development as I would have wanted, that for characters, they get 3 out of 5 stars, because they could have done a little more with that. Like, I wanted more. Like, I'm trying to watch like full-fledged people, not just, and it seems slightly surface level.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, so let's get into the creativity of this movie. And when I was doing my research, I found out that this is actually supposed to be a visual album for Kid Cudi, and this is his 8th studio album, so it doubled as a soundtrack for the movie. And he wanted this film to kind of represent an end to the Kid Cudi era. I guess he just wants to be his own self now. He doesn't want to be this persona, and I think that's really cool how he displayed that on screen. I definitely feel like the music helped the movie just feel really cool and smooth, and I love that part of it. But I'm also gonna keep it a buck. Like, I was really hyped because I like this movie so much, so I listened to the soundtrack like without the movie, and I just was working and listening to it, and it did not hit the same. Like, I really wanted to like it, but I was like,
It's definitely a no for me, though.
I feel like some things work without a visual aid. Like the Hamilton soundtrack, I love it. I don't have to watch it. But this movie, if I really want to listen to this music, I have to watch the visuals, just because they just go so hand in hand. But another creative thing that I really liked for Kid Cudi, like, he'd been working on this project for like 3 years, and I love that he put so much time and effort into it, because the creativity really shows. And when I was looking up stuff, he was saying that his like theme of the movie was that it's like a reminder that true love does happen, and like romantic in me thinks that is so cute.
I love it. Oh, very.
And I just love that he went into that mindset for this project, so, and it really shows. Also, the amount of thought that went into this movie is wild, because I don't know if you noticed, but throughout the movie there are various QR codes, and you're thinking that it's just a part of the scene, so it's not that deep. But if you actually use the QR code, it was a link to Netflix's shop that had worked with Entergalactic to have their merchandise, like different t-shirts, sweatshirts, some posters and things like that. And I think it's really cool, because those are the small details that make movies stand out, and it really just shows the thought and creativity behind all of it, and I think that's really cool. Oh, and another thing, I know that when we're watching like animated films, that a lot of times the characters are wearing the same outfits throughout the entire film, even though it's been 10,000 days, and that's kind of annoying and weird. But they actually worked with the late Louis Vuitton artistic director Virgil Abloh, and he even gets like a shout out at the end of the movie with a big poster and Mr. Rader's pointing at him. So you can just look at the outfits of the people in the movie, and I think it's so interesting, because they're very black and they're very cool, but it's still, I don't know, it just felt more realistic to have people kind of switch up their outfits a little bit more. And I like that itty bitty detail that they did, because I paid attention to it and I noticed it. Now, the story itself, you know, boy meets girl, they fall in love, have altercation, fall back in love, like, that was pretty basic, but that's like with all rom-coms, and it works out. So I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So creativity wise, I'm definitely giving this all the way 5 stars, because I love it so much, and I just think they did a lot of great things with it.
Next!
I also feel like the creativity played a huge factor into the cinematography of the film, because this is one of the most beautiful animations that I've ever seen. They said they got inspiration from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and that's another animation that I think is so gorgeous, and it's apparent when you're looking at this movie the love and effort that they put into it. And when I was again looking up everything for it, DNEG Animation was the people who were behind it. They also did like Ron's Gone Wrong, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Spies in Disguise, but this was just different, and that they were explaining how it was different because they were saying that it was almost like a stop motion type animation, kind of like the Wallace and Gromit or Nightmare Before Christmas type of movie, but instead of drawing everything like that, they did a 3D animation. And then on top of that, they did concept paintings for everything. Like they drew all of the set pieces, all of the people, and it's just so apparent when you're looking at them just because of how beautiful it looks. Like when I see black people in cartoons, you see them like different shades obviously, but in this, even when the sun is on their face, like you see the shade is different. Or when you're looking at them straight on, like we're brown, but there's different flecks of other colors in it, and I appreciate that. I just want them to know that I fully appreciate it, and it's so gorgeous seeing us that way. And
That was beautiful.
yeah, they might think that it came off a little slow, but that's okay, because that's what this story was. It was like a slow burn type of love. So slow burn animation just goes hand in hand and works together, and it was just really beautiful to see. So obviously to me, the cinematography is 5 out of 5 stars. It's so great. Like that is probably one of the reasons when I tell people that they should watch it, I'm just like, the animation is so great. So if that's the reason why I'm bragging on you to watch it, then I definitely think that makes this movie stand out.
Almost done.
So I'm not super keeping track of what my stars were for all 4 categories, but I think the lowest starred one was the characters, and that's just because I wanted them to grow up a little bit. But everything else I'm pretty sure was 5 stars all the way around, and that's how I feel about this movie. But I guess I'm not good at math, but if I'm doing like averages and whatnot, I think that would bring the movie down to 4 out of 5 stars total. But I love this movie so much. I think that everyone who loves animation and likes Kid Cudi and just wants a really chill vibe, that this is their movie. Also, if you smoke, I think this would be a cool movie to watch under the influence, just because the colors and the vibes and everything is all there. So I definitely recommend it. Everybody go watch it. It is that girl. I love it.
Oh, it's over.
So I just want to thank everybody for listening today to my first solo podcast. I really hope y'all liked it. And if you want to know what I'm going to be watching next week, please follow me on Instagram at spoiler_alerts with a Z, and then on Twitter at spoiler_alerts and another underscore. So follow us and see what we're going to watch. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See you next week at this same time.